Hey there, welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. This is Studio Visitor, the podcast about European studio culture, talking gear, philosophy and history. I'm very pleased to announce I finally have the first female appearing on this channel. Claudia and her husband João running the heritage of their father, EStudio Rangel, in Porto, Portugal. She has an amazing story about their heritage, the future, and what the stuff they do. This is yet another day, another story to tell. My name is David Jones, I'm the studio visitor. Let's go. Hey now, welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. We're in Portugal, in Porto, and I'm sitting next to the Queen of Music Recording in Portugal, Claudia.
Hello.
Welcome to the channel. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm very well.
Yeah?
Thank you.
You're
I'm
a
very
little bit
good.
nervous, but nothing to be worried about.
Yeah, no worries.
No worries, no worries. Your studio is the heritage of your father.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your father and the reasons why he started the studio?
It started with my grandmother that had 7 kids, and my father was the second one, the oldest, the second oldest. And at some point, my grandmother decided that it was time for probably the kids to help a little bit at home, and he decided to take my eldest uncle to a radio here in Porto to get him a job. But in the day that it was going to happen, my uncle got sick, so she took my father, that was the second in the row. They took him to a radio here, a radio that still exists. That's a Catholic radio, Radio Renascença, and he was there. She was there with him to get him a job, and he did. So he started working around, I don't know, I think 11 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's young.
Yeah, that's really young. He was still in school, but he was as well, he had a job there. He got a job there. So, and then he started learning and getting experience. Everybody liked him, so he started getting old and learning more and more and more. And at some point, he was involved in the sound and in the technical parts of the sound. He started recording. He started being one of the best technicians, sound technicians there was.
At that young age?
No, not at that. He grew.
Yeah,
but
I
I don't know, at some point with 16, 17, 18, he was already a really good...
that is still young.
Yeah, he was. And then he started doing a lot of recordings around the country with a friend that was called Forge. And recording a lot of different stuff in tape. And the dream of having his own studio, I think it started around that age, the 18, 19. But as you know, having your own studio, it was in a city that, in a country that didn't have any own studios, home or professional studios, was almost like a dream. He had a studio in the radio, but not his own studio. So at some point around his 20s, he and his friend decided that it was about time they decided that they really wanted to create a professional studio. At some point, that was the year of 65, they came around and started working and working and working. I remember my father telling me that the first recording they did, they didn't still have, the studio didn't have windows yet.
Really?
Yeah, because
that's a challenge.
I think that must have been amazing times to see. I wasn't there, but yeah. Then there was a really big setback after 1 year. Forge was called to go to the army. He had to go. So he left to Guinea, in Africa, for quite a long time. And in the same year, my father as well was called to go to the army. He had to go, and he was set in Algarve, in the south.
Yeah.
Every time he reached Friday, he picked a train, came to Porto, I don't know, in a journey that took 8 or 10 hours. And Saturday he had a recording here.
Talking about commitment.
Yeah, and Sunday morning he was already again on a train to do the same trip to Algarve.
Wow. That really is the type of commitment you don't see these days anymore.
Yeah, you don't. It's almost unbearable to think that nowadays. But yeah, he had a lot of things he had to pay. They had already bought a lot of stuff for the studio to run.
Because at that time, no bank would give you a loan for starting a studio. How did they financially fund things?
It's a kind of a loan, but it's different. It's different. I don't really know how to.
The bank helped in funding.
Yeah, a bit. Yes.
A bit.
A bit.
But the other bit.
You know, the other bit it was his savings. Their savings actually, because he worked for a long time before that. So. I think they had
and the jobs they did.
Yeah, and of course they had to get jobs to pay the things. That's why he came every weekend from Tavira to Porto to record, because he needed to pay the things. So
how was your mother in all of this? Was she okay with him having a studio?
I think she was. Sometimes a bit jealous of because he kept working late and he kept going out with because my father, even having the studio, he still worked in the radio.
Wow.
Yeah.
He got back from when he got out of the army. He got back to the radio.
Yeah. It was an hectic time because he worked really a lot. But he needed, because this is having a studio, as you know, it's quite an expensive thing.
Still is.
Still is, yeah.
Your mother being jealous and your father working hard, how did that affect you? Were you daddy's little girl? Did he took everywhere? Or?
I was a bit of a daddy's little girl, yeah. I think my relationship with my father was always better than with my mother.
Spending so much time with your father, was that a natural thing for you, following his steps into music production and recording, or?
I was raised as well here. I know this studio since I'm alive, so I remember my father editing some tape and me seated on the top of the machine with my little legs like looking down. I remember that. I was probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And then I started working here. My first work here was like administrative work, like helping to do the invoices or replying some letters on the
Type machine.
Yeah, type machine. So it was like on holidays I used to come and help. Another thing I used to help my father with was like everything of maintenance, that pulling cables, connecting cables, I don't know.
I saw a picture of you on your Instagram with a soldier ironing, doing patch base.
Yeah.
That time back then, you learned soldering and all these things.
Yeah, I learned there. I learned with him, and I also learned then in college. Learned that in college as well.
Back in the days, how important was the studio for Portuguese music scene in general?
Look, this studio is from '65, and it is the second studio in the country. The first one was created in '63, 2 years prior, and it is in Lisbon. So by then it was really far. Porto and Lisbon was a long distance to ride. So the studio became really important for all the music scene in the center and in the north of the country. Almost everyone passed by here. If you wanted to record, you had to come here.
When did you started doing engineering and recording stuff?
My first experience with sound, with engineering, was, I don't know, I was like 15, 16. We had we used to do a lot of student manuals, and at some point they had this CD that had all the texts, songs, I don't know, a lot of exercises. So these manuals had this comic page, a lot of comic pages around along it, and I used to do the sound design of it. So I could be 2 or 3 days easily checking vinyls and tapes and hearing these effects, this special effect, this comic song, this comic music, and putting all up. So it wasn't just the two kids reading for each other or counting the funny joke. So I used to do all the music background, and I loved it. I simply loved it. By then, I already did it in a thing called DM80. Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it already had four tracks. It was amazing. You could have the stereo in one, the voice in one, and then you had 3 to to play.
Was a 4-track, but 4 stereo tracks.
Yeah, it was really difficult to work. Now that I think of it, you had to go with the course and cut, and then go to the other place, and it was.
Then you forgot to switch the knob, and you need to do the takeover.
Yes. It was difficult, but I loved to do it. And my father allowed it because I think it was also a way for me to learn and get experience. After that, I started doing a lot of sound design. I think the clients really enjoyed my input, and
the clients liked what you do because you was not thinking inside the box but out the box.
Yeah, as well. And I had a lot of new music that my father already. It wasn't my father's music anymore. It was, I don't know. It's like my daughter shows me things I don't know as well. It's like. It's natural.
Are these new things from this age? We're both a little bit older, and I still like the 80s stuff.
Yeah, me too. And she does too. But she shows me new things that I didn't get to see yet. Okay. So it's nice. It's a nice input as well. So I think I did the same with my father, and the clients actually liked it. So he was happy. He had so many work that he was happy to start giving me some of that work.
But that's only sound design.
Yeah, at that point it was only sound design because I was in school. No, I was in school yet. And then I went to college to engineering, chemical engineering.
Chemical engineering, oh wow.
Yeah, chemical engineer. And then I was...
Why, that's interesting. Why did you choose chemical engineering?
Because I really liked chemics.
Yeah, chemical stuff.
And I really enjoyed it. I don't know, I like science.
Okay.
After, in engineering, I found it another universe of things to do. At some point, I created a thing that we have here in Portugal that is a musical group that is called Tuna. It's an university musical group that plays traditional instruments and sing, and it's fun.
Does it also come with traditional music, or?
Yes, but then you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
With, and I founded it, I created it, and I was the person that did the arrangements in the songs, that teach all the other people how to do it, how to play it.
Are these still used these days? Arrangements and methods? Or did it evolve?
Last year they were 31 years old, and they still do some of the songs I arranged.
Really?
By then, yeah. They evolved to a new thing, but some of them they still play it. It's very interesting, very, very interesting.
From Tunan to engineering and recording.
Okay, then I was out of engineering, and then I started. I didn't feel like working in the engineering field, so I started spending a lot of time here in the studio, and then at that point I started doing some engineering.
Mixing boards, classic
Yes,
consoles.
yes. A bit, and slowly, because I think my father was like not used to just let it go. And remember, I'm a girl.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
So that was like always.
Still daddy's little girl.
Yeah, yes, but I felt like it wasn't taking me really serious. So at some point, after 2 or 3 years of butting heads and trying to change some mindsets, I decided, no, I need to evolve a bit more. So I went to college to study production and musical production and engineering. And I spent there 5 years studying.
Wow.
Yeah.
But part-time or full-time?
No, full-time. And still working here as well. So it was like...
Just like your father from the army?
Yeah. A bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
commitment.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, our studios, because... Sorry.
Yeah.
Because this one, this studio where we are right now, it's the third studio. It's the studio from '95. Because back in the 80s, there was such a huge demand on recording that we had the need to do another studio, because every weekend was completely, especially mainly on weekends, of course, was completely booked for the whole year. So
I remember these times for me as well. When I was recording bands, it was like always even late at night,
Yeah.
or in the weekends.
Yeah.
In the weekends, you also had a job as a live engineer and doing other stuff.
Yeah,
having fun.
True.
Was the time for, between all the work? Was the time enough for you to having fun, or did you miss that part a little bit?
No. Like, I did everything I had to do until I was 30. My life is really fulfilling. I don't have any complaints.
Okay.
I may could have slept a little bit more.
Yeah, okay, we all did.
But well, yeah, you have to.
One does partying, one does
Yeah.
does working, but at the end of the day, we all can sleep a little bit more.
I'm pretty pleased and with my life. I don't think I have those regrets that I didn't have fun or I didn't enjoy. I didn't did what my friends did. I did. I just slept very little.
Sleeping very little. There was a time this was a kind of playground to you where you can learn stuff and test for stuff. But at the end of the day, it became a serious playground for earning money.
Yeah.
What's the biggest difference between those two for you?
Oh, that's an easy question. When I was playing, I didn't have the responsibility of leading the studio. My father was here. He did all the heavy lifting. I managed to have my own time. If I needed to take more or less time in production and producing something, it was okay. Since my father passed away suddenly, it was a hard time for me and for the studio, because nothing was expecting, nothing was prepared for that. So my brother at some point was left on the commands, but after, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, we had to revert the situation in order to maintain the studio, because otherwise I think we would have lost it. So when we did that reversal, and I took the commands of the studio, I knew I had a huge task in the front. The first year was like change cables, change material, do construction work, do acoustic renovations, gathering everything so I could be on the market again with 2 solid feet. That's what we did. Me and João, we just...
João is your husband.
Yeah, João is my husband.
Yeah.
We just put our sleeves up and get the hands on the job. We're still doing it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's done. It's a permanent job.
How is it working for you as one of the last females that's been being dominated in a man's world, leading your own studio, running your own studio?
I wish I could say it's an easy task. It's not.
No, I know.
Let's be honest. It's not. I think even now, with all the years passed by and all the experience I have, I still lose some jobs when they understand it's a female and they don't know me. Sometimes there are new bands that come and oh, are you recording it? Like, no, yeah, I'm the main engineer, and they tend to do this. Oh. Oh.
They're surprised.
Yeah, but then after, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours, they are completely at ease, and they return. So it's a good thing.
There are not enough women
no,
in this
no.
industry.
That's why it's difficult, because people always look at us like,
Okay. You're talking about when people come to your studio and they say, oh, it's a woman.
no.
I remember
I get that a lot.
I remember the call out I did on Facebook, and I said, I want to talk to people with studios. Your husband replied, he said, seek contact with this woman. Who is she? She's my wife. Okay. I was like, okay, I would love to talk to her. And then we had this conversation, and I was like, why is it necessary? I mean, why is it necessary for people to think that a woman cannot do the job?
I don't know. I think it's actually because there are almost none here in Portugal, at least, and I think the most sound engineers or sound technicians, a lot are not engineers. They keep the ear. They tend to pass an ear in the road.
You were saying you were taking over command in 2018. The world has changed a lot, like COVID, pandemic, whatever. Mm-hmm. To you, the last 10 years, what are the biggest changes you experienced in your studio?
We always have been a traditional studio, but a studio that did all kinds of works, like soundtracks, recordings, band recordings, orchestra recordings, philharmonic, bands, theater, soundtracks, I don't know. Nowadays, we are more like a commercial studio as well. So if you want to come and bring your things or work here and record here, you can do it as a producer.
Yeah.
That brings a lot of people, of new people, and it even brings people from abroad.
Like me.
My goal nowadays is actually implement that even more, because since this is a city that has so much to give to anyone that comes.
The serenity and the environment here is amazing. I spent a couple of days now, and I was like, yeah. I can imagine why people come here and visit your studio, and even though recording music can be stressful, they can lay back in the environment.
Yeah, and we have this kind of arrangement that we can fix your stay here. We have some local hotels working with us, and you can come, record, and then finish early and go out and enjoy the city, enjoy the food, enjoy the weather, the beaches, the whatever. So it's a win-win situation. Everyone that has come on those terms loved it, simply loved it. It's nice.
Your approach is quite unique. Does it, besides you making money, you're running your own company and whatever you want to call it, does it reward you in any other way?
Well, I'm doing what I like, so
okay, that's
the
basic
the best reward there is, right? Yeah, I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy the freedom of doing whenever I want it. It's not having to fulfill a schedule from 9 to 5. I can work a lot more hours a day in the studio that I would work outside, but it's like I'm at home. So time goes by and I don't even notice. Sometimes João is like, we should go, right?
Your husband, João, he really is a driving force, because he told me a story. The boxes in your studio are like crayons for you to color your sound.
Yeah.
But if it comes to technical stuff and model numbers and whatever, he is a big part of your...
He makes my life very, very easy on that matter. Because he spends a lot of time learning and figuring out and studying and reading comments and reading reviews and almost learning things, so we can come and say, look, I've learned this, I think we should try this, or maybe you should see this, or let's buy this, or let's try that. And that's actually, it makes my life easy, because when I'm recording, I can't be reading. When I'm mixing, I can't be reading. So
I think, as you describe him, he's the one that lifts the weights for you to walk the path easier. We saw the microphone locker, and if you need a specific microphone, you call him, and he said...
No. I know my mics. If you ask me on the street for every reference in every microphone, I will probably say, you should talk to João, because he's the one who knows every reference. But I know my mics, of course. I know exactly what I want to record with.
Yeah. Do you still take the opportunity to experiment with new equipment or cables or whatever to get better results?
Sure. You know, that I learned with my father. My father, when he started the studio, he spent hours and hours and hours and hours just recording stuff, the same stuff in different places of the studio or with different mics. That expertise was one of the things that everyone liked in my father. He could get this amazing sound from almost any instrument.
Thing of experimenting, is that the biggest lesson you learned from your father, or is there anything else you like to be announced as the biggest lesson you learned?
Oh, I don't know. My father had a lot of nice qualities, and I know that because everyone that comes in and talks about my father, that worked with him by then and talks about him, says exactly the same thing. How patient he was, how kind and mild he was, what a great pair of ears he had. The suggestions he made was always spot on, and everybody, with no exception, I can tell you.
Okay. I trust you. I trust
It's amazing.
You're his daughter, but you're also this, the story you're telling me. Probably his closest student ever.
I remember we kept discussing the place of a vocal in a mix. For me, the vocals are more present. For him, the vocals were just like another instrument. I remember our discussions for hours and hours, and days and days and days.
Out of all the tools you have available, what's the most important tool for you?
Right now, or
In general?
in the that's a hard question.
No.
Well,
No, it is not. To me, it's not.
no.
No.
So, if you talk as a person, my main important tool is my ears.
That one.
That's all. That's almost everything. If you have good ears and good references, and you are keen on learning, and you are keen on doing the work, you'll get there.
Yeah, sure. No matter what environment you're in.
I think that's my best feature. It's actually my ears.
Yes.
And the patience I have to get where I want.
Yeah.
A lot of times we are discussing when do one finish a mix?
To me, it's never finished because when I do production and when I send it to mastering, and 1 month later, oh, I could have done this. Oh, I could have done that.
Yeah.
Oh, but sometimes I'm hearing stuff of me in another studio. Did I really make this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at some point you have to finish. You have to close it because you can't be mixing forever. So the difficulty for me, the most difficult thing is to do that thing. Okay, let's do the bounce and.
Talking about mixing, what do you prefer? In the box or hybrid or the old school one?
I don't know. That's so hard. Let's tell me. Give me another question.
No. You got to answer this one.
Look, nowadays I mix in digital only.
In the box.
I mix with my ears, but I like to validate it with the eyes. It's you know, I don't mix only with the eyes. I don't trust machines.
No, me neither.
But I think it could be a good starting point, even some presets. But I always like to get where my ears take me. But it's nice to see the validation. Sometimes like this. I was right. So it's I like it.
Does gear matter?
Sure, for sure it does. It does. Not only the digital, but the gear as well matter. Yeah.
And if there's one piece of gear that you cannot do production without, what would it be?
Lexicon.
Which one?
480.
Oh, the classic.
Yeah, the classic for sure. Yeah, I love it. I love it. But there are a lot. I love the Avalon. I don't know. I love all my press. I have very nice, very good press, and I think
you got a great collection of preamps.
Yeah, preamps. They are very important. But then the room is also important. So I have a very easy situation because my room sounds really amazing. You should try it one of these days. You should come and sing. Yeah, it's a very natured room, live and it functions very well. Sounds really good.
There's a big tape machine over there.
Yeah.
And when we met the first time, he told me an incredible story. It was the first stereo tape recorder ever bought in Portugal.
Yeah. I think it's 65. Around that, it must have been the year. My father had already asked for or bought a mono recording machine, and then in that time this came out. This is the first stereo recorder. And when my father realized that, he called the company and said, look, I don't need the mono recording anymore. I need the stereo.
After all these stories, is there another story about getting awarded for the production work you do, or your studio in general?
Last year we had two nice surprises. Since we are being taken over by tourism and tourists and new things opening, and landlords are expelling people out so they can, I don't know, sell the buildings for hotels or etc. There is this program from the City Hall that secures the old commerce in the town, and you have to earn it. You have to be of great value to receive that award. And last year we did.
Really?
Actually, yeah, we were quite excited.
Part of the cultural heritage.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a way of secure the place, so the landlord won't ever kick us out or something, because you know, a studio.
A lot of history, a lot of heritage. Is there anything you desire for the future, or?
My plan is to to do more and more every day, try new things. Sometimes, as they say, when a window closes, or when you close a door, there's a window that opens. I felt that happened a lot with us around the pandemic time, and it led us to new ways to do some, I don't know, new recordings, new recordings at distance. Sometimes I see myself working at the same time with people in Holland, Denmark, Brazil, Spain, and me here. It's with some people, some guys recording here. It's an amazing time. I think it's thrilling to engage in these new discoveries and new ways of producing and
COVID gives us a new perception on time, distance, and file size, and all these things.
So my goal is to keep on being a milestone, a mark in the city, and a prominent figure in the studio industry.
You have as queen of the Portuguese recording industry. Does the queen have some closing thoughts that you would like to share with the people? Anything you would like to say or whatever?
I wish the music industry could be more open to good music. Sometimes I feel we are producing, we are doing products that
marketing.
Marketing, and the music is losing it. It's being lost. The good musicians, the good projects are a lot of times not getting anywhere because the industry only is worried about getting a product that sells. So you
made today, deliver tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly, and
even
live it then.
Preferably deliver today as well.
Yeah,
it's not getting better.
Yeah, my goal is not that kind of project. So no, my projects, my goal is to do really good music, and with luck, change a little bit of the paradigm. Let's see. Yeah, that's my goal.
Okay. I want to thank you for your time.
No,
it was a great
episode.
As well,
Dave.
You're welcome.
Every time you want to come by,
I will do so. I will do so. That's it for now for this episode. Me and Claudia, we sign off. Hope to see you in the next one.
Bye.
I say bye-bye. Obrigada.
De nada.